with applying some ceramic coatings to my vehicle. I used the Clean by Pan 8-year coating, and I applied that a couple of months ago. I want to talk about the process that I went through with that. And yeah, kind of excited to do that. Right now I'm hearing myself in this other ear. You need to turn that off. And for some reason I've lost all of my camera controls, which is not good. There it is. They're back. I also have a guest here, my good friend Brian. So welcome back, Brian. He's going to be here to help ask questions and move things along, in case nobody shows up, which sometimes happens on these things. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Looks like Becca's reporting a little bit of an echo. I'm not sure what's going on. It's possible you'll have to mute your mic when you're not talking, maybe. I don't think it's from me. But hey, Becca, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Appreciate that. Hope you're staying warm. Brian's actually having to wear the scarf tonight because he's
it's been double digits in the negatives for the last couple of days. We actually got above 0 today, but it was still pretty cold with the wind. So yeah, little bitey on the exposed neck when you wander about here in Wisconsin.
So Becca's reporting the echoes when I'm talking. So if you muted yourself, what happens? I'm just curious. Becca, how's it going now? Any echo anymore? Just wondering. All these technical difficulties, which are so fun. Brian, I'm going to buy Brian a pair of headphones and send them to him. Oh, it's me. Why would it be me?
So quick to point the finger, man.
I know. Still echo,
I
it
have
says.
no echo on my end.
That's strange. Huh. Well, I don't know how to fix that since I can't hear it. Interesting. It wasn't on the live stream either. I didn't hear it there. Also strange. Anyway, hopefully it's not too bad and we can kind of keep moving. We'll see how it goes.
I would like to say thank you to Becca for throwing out the fact that it's not me. So, thank you, Becca.
I can try a different device, I guess, and see. Let's see what Becca says to this. This is always fun when we do things like this. Yeah, I actually can't switch mics while I'm recording, unfortunately. So I don't have a choice right now. It's better now. Well, we'll see. All right. Well, crazy stuff. Anyway, today, like I said, we're going to talk about the just applying the Clean by Pan 8-year coating. Hey, Dan, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you coming on and saying hello. So we're going to talk about the application of this today, and I have I don't know, 2 hours worth of content that I shot between cleaning the vehicle and prepping it, polishing it, doing the application, which I used the C6 Ceramics app instead of a what am I thinking of here? Instead of the, oh man, boy, this is not going well today, Brian. My brain is fried from work. I'm not going to lie. It's super fried. Instead of doing the, oh, dang it. Yeah, it's like, just freaking out today. But I use this as the step before applying the ceramic coating. So, it went really well. This is not. This is C6 Ceramics. Is kind of more from the DIY Detail House, but it's their professional brand.
Okay.
And it's meant to really swell the paint and give you just a really good bond with your coating.
It's meant to do what to the paint?
Swell it up a little bit. Make it like ready for that ceramic coating. Just accept it in here. Have a real strong bond, basically. Yeah. Gotcha. It could be the cold temps, Becca, although my temps are not near as bad as yours. So anyway, we'll talk throughout that. We'll talk through the process basically. So, Brian, do you have any questions about, like, you've never done a ceramic coating, so do you have any questions just like as a beginner user right off the bat? Because you always have the best questions, I feel like.
Well, I mean, so the last time we kind of talked about things, I was talking about the fact that I really liked the glove box product that we had demoed on my Jeep last summer, just because it was, very, very simple to use and everything. One of the products that was in there was a ceramic coating. I just never actually applied it. We never did that step when you were in Wisconsin. So how does applying a ceramic coating differ from just, the regular detailing process?
Yeah, so a ceramic coating, something's going to last a lot longer. They're like the other products that you haven't tried yet that you were thinking about trying. Those are a type of ceramic. They're a ceramic spray. They'll bond for a while, but they're going to wear off more quickly. So it's similar. Just it's not as robust. It's not going to last as long. And this is if you're looking at the product itself, which hopefully there we go. I did a whole car, and there's a lot left of this as well. But this is a much thicker. It kind of creates a layer over your actual paint, like very microscopic, super small, but it actually kind of creates a layer over the top of that where the spray isn't quite the same thing. It's maybe a little bit of a layer and protection on it, not in the same way. I mean, I'm not a professional in terms of like the chemistry of it, but it lasts a lot longer. Like this is the 8-year clean by pan, and they've got a 3-year, and he's got a 5-year, like many other companies do. He just released a 1-year, which I think is a product you would love because really easy to apply. Supposedly, I haven't used it yet, and I think those types of products are nice for people who it'll last a lot longer than just the sprays you put on, which will give you maybe a month to 6 months, depending on how you use your vehicle, how much you wash it. This should last multiple years. It may not last 8. If you just leave it outside and you never wash it, it's probably not going to last 8. But if you take care of it, you might get 8. You might get more than that if it sits in, your vehicle sits inside, that kind of thing. They typically will bead water better too, and they're easier. There's more slickness to the surface, that kind of stuff.
Okay. I'm guessing between the salt and the sand and everything else that's down on the streets here, that any kind of ceramic coating that's only meant to last a month or so isn't going to last near that.
Exactly. Which is why the ceramic coating, when you put one on, someday we'll get one on your Jeep. I promise we'll do it, and you're gonna be like, wow, this is the best thing ever. I love this. But they were pointing out how much app I used, and this. I mean, it's kind of hard to see, I guess, but it's basically full. And this is 2 vehicles worth. So I've done 2 vehicles with this. It's like a polish. It's a adhesion promoter polish is what it's called. But it applies kind of similar to a polish would, but it doesn't. It cleans the surface, but it doesn't it doesn't correct any defects or anything like that. You're not taking off any of the clear coat. It's real. It's just meant to really help the paint want to accept that coating and clean it up really good. It shines it up and that's really nice, and that's really kind of what it's for. But yeah, this is like I'm gonna have years and years and years of use of this if I used it all the time. Great for professionals for sure.
Now I get all the jokes to the side in the chat that's about how no one ever uses up a bottle of this stuff.
That's true. And Chi-Town saying, I'm going to do 8-year on the 4Runner in the spring, which I think you're going to love. Let's get into the process and talk about it a little bit. And please do go ahead and ask questions in the chat, and we can kind of go from there. I'd love that. So he's saying, I have the 8.3 stack as well on my new vehicle. He said it's clogging very easily. One drive in the snow and it feels like it's clogged up already. So that's interesting. I haven't seen that yet, but we haven't gotten a good snow yet, to be honest with you. I guess the question there is, do you have the newer version of the 8.3 stack or the older version of the 8.3 stack? Because that might be different. There's a chemistry difference there. I've got the Type 2 or V2 of the 8.3 stack on the Sportage. So we'll see how that holds up over the winter. So far, it's been good though.
And when
it's also harder when you're like, what's that?
I was curious when the new version came out.
This last summer, I think, is when it released. Like the 3-year took a little bit longer than the 8. The 8 came was like late spring, early summer, and then the 3-year was a little bit later, but summertime, somewhere around there. And then I think I got them in like maybe October, and then I applied them in November, I want to say. So yeah, because I got the vehicle in November. So hopefully I don't experience that, but if I do, I'll let you know about it for sure. All right, so let's get into a little bit of some of the video stuff here really quick. So let me pull up one of these videos, and the main thing here is I don't want to hear myself while I'm doing this because that's not going to be helpful. So I just want to go through the process. Now, I did a bunch of different products when I did this. It wasn't just all clean by pan. It's better your first time out if you use one, kind of stick with one product line. And if like this works with a lot of, Apple work with pretty much everything, but there are other ways to remove the polish and clean the surface after you've done the polishing as well, or just to why can't I remember the product name of that? Somebody in the chat remind me what I'm talking about. Instead of app, what would you do? What's the thing? Why can't I remember it today? It starts with a P as well, but I can't remember what it is. Anyway, we'll get to that at some point. So let's see here. We got some more chat. Just want to bring this up. So let's see here. Chi-Town saying, you did it on 2 cars. Son's Tacoma is driven in the snow, salt, mud, washed every couple of months. Year and a half holding up. All right, well, that's good. That's good. And Becca was saying that gonna have to check Dad says he's got type 1 stock on Dad's vehicle. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it holds up. The 5-year has been holding up really, really good from DIY Detail on my Tacoma. All right, well, panel prep. Thank you. Thank you, Becca. Why could I not come up with panel prep today? Oh my God. There were a couple incidents, like just not incidences at work, but there was so much going on at work today. My brain was so full. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this live stream tonight. Thank you for calling that out. Panel prep is the other way to do it, and the way I've done it before. So this is the first vehicle I ever used app on, essentially, and then I did it again with the Sportage, and I liked it both times. Yep, panel prep is it. It's a good thing you have people that save you when you're on the live streams. I love that. All right, let's do a little bit of sharing here. And I'm going to share a little bit about what I did, the process I went through. This did not work exactly the way I wanted it to. Screen, and I would like to do this right here. All right. So basically, as I said, normally it's best to use the same company's products, but I mixed everything in this one to some degree, not everything. But I used the Quiver Rogue, and I was doing a test of something, I think, at this point. And so I decided to use Quiver Rogue for the first stage of the foaming and the stage. So I did a hybrid wash. I foamed it, then I rinsed it, and then I used the Clean by Pan, rinseless wash. So I stayed mostly within the Clean by Pan area, but I just thought it would be kind of fun to use the Quiver Rogue because I had a big model of it, I think is really the reason for that. And you know, for people who've never used it before, you don't need you need almost no shampoo in this thing to get it in the foam cannon, and it foams like crazy. I think that was a half an ounce. So it's just really good. It's a really, really, really good foamer. I agree, Becca. I agree. It's hump day today. It's definitely hump day. No doubt. So I went through that, and I went through that stage. This is really easy. You're just applying it and then you're rinsing it. So it's not a big deal there. And I was also testing at this time. I had just gotten the Quiver gun, which isn't available anymore. The new one's coming out soon. So I was basically testing that out and decided to use Rogue for that in a different video, which is why I did that. But then I did the rinseless with the Clean by Pan. And I used the Clean by Pan towel, which I really like that towel as well. I think it's a fantastic towel. I like both sides of that a lot, and I'm definitely down with that. And I also use some of the Clean by Pan, the rinseless towels, which are baby goats, basically. So that was kind of the process. I applied it with a sprayer and then dried it off. I got done with all that, and that was a process for washing. So that's how you would just the initial. You need to clean the car before you want to go ahead and do the rest of it. And Brian, if you see any comments, I think if you click on the comments in this chat, you can bring them up too. So if I'm missing a comment or something we should talk about, you can go ahead and click those and bring them to my attention that way too, and help me out because I might miss some stuff. So in the past, I've used the panel prep I've used the most in the past was the DIY detail panel prep. But I've also used a couple of other brands. I do actually have the Clean by Pan panel prep, and I was going to use it for this, and then I got app, and I was like, well, I might as well use app because I have it. And I think that was a little bit better choice. Just I think it does a really good job. I really like that a lot. So that was the first stage. You got to clean the paint. So that's what we did. You did the contact wash with the rinseless, and that's where we kind of ended up there. I guess Brian, as somebody who's kind of brand new to all this, do you have any questions about that at all?
Not right off the bat. Although I was impressed when you were doing the foam, the initial foaming there, like it stuck. Like it didn't run down. It stayed in place. Whereas typically I've seen it where it kind of just runs down, and then you may have to touch up some spots later.
Yeah, I mean, you're just trying to get the soap on the vehicle to grab onto any dirt and drag it off. And so actually having it be a little bit runny is a good thing. It's not bad, but it looks really good on camera when it sticks to the vehicle and it's super dry like that. But Quiver Rogue is a really good soap. So that was a lot that. And then the setup I have is good too. I mean, I think Quiver Rogue would foam in just about anything just because that's how good it is. But obviously all the, So. Yes, I think he should go get a drying towel for a scarf. I sent him some drying towels. He's got some for sure. So
they're not that big though. They're like the size of handkerchiefs.
Oh, we got to get you a big one. I can do that. I'll get you a big toe.
And
along with some headphones.
Comments, I can't share them, so that's strictly you on this one, Ben.
It doesn't say if you hover over it. Does it say show on stream?
I get nothing.
All right, I'll manage it. It's fine. Not a big deal.
Now, you actually chose the one that I was hovering over, so it worked out.
Perfect. So yeah, we think alike. It's good. So the next stage I did after, so you clean the vehicle, right? I didn't have to do it that way because the vehicle is pretty clean, but if it's dirty when it gets there, you definitely, I think a foaming is a good way to start. That's just my opinion. Other people might feel differently, but that's kind of how I feel. So once that was done, then we moved into the next stage, which I reapplied some rinseless at this point. And then it was time to clay the vehicle. And when I did that, I don't have the product sitting here with me because I didn't get the Clean by Pan iron remover because I think that came out a little bit later. But I was using the DIY detail iron remover, and basically what this is doing is only turn the it's just helping to remove iron, like the iron particles and things from the rust particle, iron particles from the vehicle. It's decontaminating the paint. That's what the iron remover is kind of for, but the clay towel is going to help get anything else that's stuck to the paint that you didn't get off with just like a contact wash. It's completely safe. A lot of people are, I think, a little bit worried about clay towels and doing this because I used to use the clay bar. Did you ever see those, Brian? Clay bars? Did you ever see those? Yeah. Did you ever use one?
The clay bars seemed kind of. I was nervous about using those just because of how dense they were.
And there is, I think, some concern about. They work pretty well. I mean, they've been used on paint for how long now, right? Like forever, I think. So they're fairly safe. But this method, I think, is even better. These clay towels they're perforated synthetic towels, is what they are. So they're not actually clay. But you can put them into 4 sections, and this is the quad fold towel by DIY Detail, and I use that. And it basically, that in conjunction with iron remover helps kind of decontaminate the paint and pull off anything that's left on that paint. Because as you go over that, you just kind of go over the sections with no pressure. And then when you're done, you have really clean paint at that point. So yeah. Let's see what's this say right here. I'm missing something. Saw your neighbor a couple doors down, retired from that in Chicago. Yes. He actually is a recent move-in and quiet, but I think he's a nice guy. He's got a Tacoma as well, an older Tacoma. I'm actually hoping to kind of he looks like he does some overlanding. At some point, I'll approach him and say, hey, do you want to go out sometime and do something? We'll see. But yes, definitely. And then there are some clay bars that people still use, and I'm not going to say that one's definitely better than the other. I've used clay bars before and they've worked, but I like the towels as well. Japanese clay bars from Thor are awesome, so that's another shout out there. And a couple other people have called out using the cloths as well, and the decon towels I think they're great, and they're easy to rinse and reuse. The clay bars are only good for so long. Not that these aren't like eventually they'll wear out, but if you take care of these, I think they're going to last you a really long time too. So they're a pretty good purchase in my mind. But that's what that is all about there. Just getting that stuff done, getting that all off getting all the junk off the paint, and then I did one more step after that before we even got into the garage to do any kind of polishing, and with that, it's this video here. Let me see if I can just get to the good part here. I think I even had to apply a little bit more rinseless at that point. So I think that video might only just be rinseless. So I don't want to just show that. Let's see what we got here. Okay, looks like I didn't record the other part unless it's in here and you just really can't. You can kind of see me doing a little bit of it, but unfortunately, what happened with it is the camera didn't capture everything, which is always unfortunate. Talking about stuff, so you can see me doing it, kinda, but not very well, unfortunately. Let me see if I can get it there. All right.
So everything you've shown so far has just been to kind of
prepping it.
The groundwork. It's all prep.
Prep paint. Yep. So the last stage, which I think is a good stage, and this is something you do in a wash play seal. So this you can also just do this without adding any kind of ceramic coating. When you're done with what we're doing here, your paint is as clean as it's going to be, and it's minus polishing, right? Like, but there should be nothing left on it whatsoever. If you don't have any kind of a coating on your vehicle, it'll feel really like it'll be really grabby at that point because there's no coating on it. If you do have a ceramic coating, this is a way to revive it as well, doing all these steps. So you can use this method for some other stuff. But basically, you can see in here in this picture. At the bottom right of the screen, there's some water spot remover. So that was the next phase I used, and basically sprayed the vehicle down a water spot remover and used a rag. Just kept it on one side, and because it's already clean at this point, and then just kept it on one side, and I used that water spot remover, and that breaks down any mineral deposits that might be on your vehicle, including water spots. So this is the one way that, like, if you really can't get rid of water spots on your vehicle, this is a really good way to do that. And again, leaves your paint super clean when you're done and ready to put a coating on. When you're done with this, you could then put that ceramic spray that you have at your place that either one of those. You could use a ceramic spray after this, and then it'll bond for the longest possible time because it's so clean. So that's another thing you could do if you didn't want to go through polishing. You didn't want to put on a ceramic coating as well. So I did that step here, and again, you can kind of see a little bit of what I was doing, but I guess I did capture some of it. I didn't think I did, but you can be pretty generous with that. And you're just kind of wiping it down over top again, just trying to get the minerals off there. Let's see. Have I missed a few comments at all?
So circle back on something you had commented about earlier was the iron removal.
Yep.
Is that something that's just kind of a standard thing you should do regardless of where you live, or is it more of an issue where you're at?
No, so you're going to get buildup from like brake dust and all that kind of stuff that gets onto your vehicle. Just even like what's in the atmosphere these days can cause contamination in your vehicle, and iron remover will help get rid of that. You see some people really spray and different methods, right? And I used to do it this way, where you take a bottle of iron remover and you spray it all over the entire vehicle, and you see a lot on wheels. And it starts to bleed. It literally looks like it's bleeding. Your vehicle and your wheels are bleeding because it turns red because it's interacting with the rust particles. You just don't need to use that much, and it's really expensive as a chemical. So it's something you want to consider when you're when you're using that. But yes, you can. Any vehicle will benefit from that every once in a while. You're just decontaminating what's on top of that, on top of your paint and your glass. But I would follow it up with water spot remover right after that, because that's going to get rid of any mineral deposits that are on top of there too. Good question. What else we got in here? Only use the CG and Mother's clay bars. All right, there's nothing wrong with that either. Like it. You got clean clay towel for 95% and bar for things that I missed. And all the clean towels are all the towels that are out there right now, I think are pretty good. I don't think I've seen any that are not good. So yeah, that makes sense. Let's see what else we got here. CG medium cut definitely marred the paint, which can happen. Definitely a possibility. And then yeah, prep is the the prep for all this stuff takes the longest. So that right there was probably, if you removed the filming of all this stuff and having to talk through all of it, this is maybe an hour and a half or something like that of time to do. It can go pretty quickly, especially if you just do a rinseless version of it. Even without that, it's maybe an hour and a half of my time to get through that. For somebody who is a DIYer, if you're a professional, I'm guessing you can get through this a little bit more quickly than that. But it is definitely the most time-consuming part, and then applying the coating takes like an hour at the most. And it's the whole thing, maybe even less than that, depending on what you're doing. So let's see. I recommend using a panel light to go over looking for high spots when you're done. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's definitely true. Light is helpful. And then there's different variations of that. So the Next LED is a good one there. And I haven't used that one, but I bet it's good. I have some other lights that I use, but they're not as good as those, because they're really specific for being able to spot marring and scratching and things like that, which you should do even before you do all this stuff, just to try to decide how much time you want to spend in the next section that we're going to do, and where the spots are where you might have to spend more time too. So having that light lets you know, like, you should inspect after this is done, because now the paint's really clean. Using a light at this point gives you a really good idea of, again, where you might have more scratches or other defects that you might want to clean up or not, and just kind of make the decision. And then I would say, as a beginner, like if you were going to do this, Brian, the least amount is best. There are some people who will they'll do multiple passes with polishing, like 2 or 3 stage polishing with a bunch of different products. I think for a beginner, just choose somewhere in between, nice and easy. And this is what I did with this vehicle, and I'll explain why. But this is probably the way I would recommend for anybody to do that as well. So after that was all clean, I dried it. So I think I have a little bit of that. We can show what it's like to use the clean by pan towel here really quick. And again, it was super grabby. It was in really good. The paint is in pretty good shape. This vehicle had about 67. It was about 70,000 miles on it when I did this. And to me, it was, the paint was still in good shape. It still looked really good. And this is before any coatings, been put on or anything like that. So I think, it's looking pretty good, honestly, for that amount of time. It was a rental vehicle. But one of the things I had decided when I did this was I didn't want to put a lot of time in polishing, because it had 77,000 miles on it. It was my daily commuter vehicle, and I wasn't going to try to make it perfect. You can go overboard, especially as a beginner, and try to do too much and then end up actually hurting your paint, and which you don't want to do. Because if you're polishing, even the way I'm going to show you here a little bit, you're going to be removing some clear coat. And if you go to a wool pad, you're going to be removing more of it. And if you get through the clear coat, then you're removing paint. And you can't replace that. So it's important to note that if you're trying to get scratches out, that you're not getting them out, you're just taking the paint down around it to that level so you don't see them anymore. If that makes sense. So you're just like, a scratch is like a scratch in the clear coat, but if you remove it, you're just removing everything around it down to that or close to that level. So it's better not to do that. What are you laughing at? Which comment?
I'm reading Becca's comments, as well as is it Ami
Oh, awfully. Yeah. So anyway, this was the drying phase. The car was clean and dry at this point, and then I put it in the garage for a little bit while I went and had lunch or something, I think. It's always good to eat. Don't forget to do that when you're doing these things, because you can very quickly forget it. And then the next stage was the polishing stage. And I'm lucky because I have a lot of good stuff for a beginner. Like, I'm definitely lucky. I'm going to say a few things here about this stage that I think are important. And that is, you're going to see here that I've got quite a bit of equipment. So these are the cord-free polishers from DIY Detail. If you're going to do more than one vehicle over time, I really love these. These were the 25 millimeter DAs, which is what this was. It's a fantastic polisher. Anybody can understand how to use it. They've got a rotary, and that's really good too. A lot of people gravitate towards the DAs, so it's just dual action, so it doesn't just spin, it also oscillates. And I think this is it's really a good unit. Now, if you're going to you have one vehicle or you have two, you're going to put 2 8-year coatings on them and you're never going to use it again. See if you can borrow one from somebody else or get one off of get a corded version that's a little bit less expensive, and you'll be fine. So you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on a polisher that you're only going to use once. It doesn't make sense. But if you can borrow one from somebody, I think that's a good idea. If you're going to do this, you trade in your vehicle every few years, you're going to be putting a coating on, that kind of thing, then I do think it's actually worth spending a little bit of money on that. All right, so that's what I'm using there, and I'm also using so I went with the gold standard polish in this case because I didn't have pans polish, and then I used the gold standard pad with this. So that's what you're seeing in the video here, and I guess I can show a few different things as I'm doing this. I also used the Lake Country pad washer. So I used to do this differently. The pad would be dry. I would put the polish directly on the pad, and then I would change pads out every so often. I like the DIY system, the DIY detail system, where you're keeping the pad wet, or at least like damp, and you're applying way less product. Again, like that one bottle of polish will last me forever because you're applying almost nothing to it, and then you're cleaning the pad in between each panel. So I think that this is, for me, I really like the system a lot. I don't think it takes longer necessarily to polish a vehicle either. So that's something that's important. But basically, you just use that to get it wet, and then you run it over to the top of there. In between, you just turn it on, whatever speed you're polishing at, like 3 or whatever. And then that'll actually clean the pad on those little humps that are kind of on there. And then you just lift it up like that, and while it's still spinning, you spray it. And I'm still perfecting my technique in spraying the pad a little bit better, not just spraying it over everything. And I must have missed it, but there's not very much polish on there yet. Like I was like, let me try a little bit more. That's probably more than they needed. But you can do an entire section with just that. So that's, you don't think, like I just put even more on there than I need. That was way more than I needed. That's the third spray. Ivan's going to see this and he's going to yell at me. I promise you this. Ivan's going to see this and he's like, what are you doing? Just to bring up something, the Bauer 21 millimeter DA, which I think that would be the one that comes from Harbor Freight, is a good choice. And yeah, I think a lot of the Harbor Freight tools are fantastic deals. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks for sharing that, Ami. Yeah, and I have also this DIY detailer from Chi-Town, and love that, which is great.
So without utilizing a battery pack, you typically able to finish your vehicle off of one charge, or?
I think somebody who's good at it can. Good at polishing. I am still learning polishing to be really good at it. Anybody can polish their vehicle and it's going to turn out well, but to be really efficient and quick at it, I think takes a little bit of learning time. I went through multiple batteries on the vehicle, and I'll just say that. But the system comes with 2 batteries and a charger, so while you're doing this, the other one's on the charger, and you just flip them out and they're ready to go. Like I never ran out of battery pack or anything like that. That was definitely not a problem. But I do think I'm not as efficient as other people are, for sure. And then when Nick and I did Misty's vehicle, I think I only changed the battery once on the vehicle as well. So yeah. Did I intentionally wear the exact same shirt? Yes, yeah, I actually did. It's true, I did.
Just checking.
Ami's also saying the V2 15 millimeters way smooth but spendy. And like here's another thing, just really quickly. There are 15 millimeters, there are 21 millimeters, there are 25 millimeters. There's lots of different, and that's the travel on the oscillation piece. If you're getting a DA, go with what you like. That's what I would say. I used to use a drill with with an attachment to it, with a little 4-inch polisher to do vehicle. That took a really long time, I can tell you that. And it was not very much fun. This is much faster with the 6-inch pad for sure. And the travel on and generally speaking, once you get to the 25 millimeter here, that's going to give you the most cut, according to Ivan. This is going to give you the most cut over something like a 15, but again, use what you want. And you can use it on glass too. You can see that I'm using it on glass. You can see that I'm using it on the trim. Now the trim, I didn't get every single spider web out of it. I wasn't trying to do that. You can, again, keep working until all the spider webs are gone if you want. But I was like, you know what? I just want it to be really super glossy. And that you'll see it turned out really glossy. And if it's not in direct sunlight, it looks really amazing. And if it's in direct sunlight, you can see the spider webs. So again, I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it. I wanted to make sure the paint was clean. I wanted to just clean up the defects just a tiny bit. I was just doing a little bit of correction there. Let's see, we got some other, able to get the Milwaukee 15 millimeter for $199. That's a great price, especially if you're in the ecosystem of that. So I think that's awesome. And important to note, and you can see that the pad's dirty, and that's a lot from the windows, but it gets cleaned off immediately with that pad washer that I showed before. So that's not a problem there. The other thing, Brian, you might notice is where the battery pack is. It's in the middle of the tool. And that keeps the balance. It looks weird, but it works really well. So.
Okay.
So anyway, that's the stage I went through there of the polishing piece, and I just did the gold standard polish. I just did one pass over the vehicle. I think that took about an hour of time total. So not terrible, but it was enough time. And then let's see how fast I can move here. Got to see some of the rest of it there. But and again, you can see this has probably been 4 or 5 vehicles out of this one bottle of polish. You use almost none with this method, which is great too.
So with the battery pack being in the middle like that, it balances it, like you said.
It does.
Were there any issues with it kind of getting in the way of how you were handling it?
No, because you either handle it from the front or the back, weight-wise. So it's not a big deal. You can actually, especially on the like when it's more on a horizontal surface, you can just grab the front of it because you're not putting any pressure on when you're doing that, and you can just kind of walk it around the vehicle really easy just with that, or you can grab it by the back and kind of reach over it's not a big deal. But where you put your hands, I never had a problem with that. I guess depending on where you grab it, it might be different for different people, but I never had a problem with that.
Okay.
Good question though. What else we got? Black & Decker. Got the Black & Decker battery adapter, so that's 6 batteries. That's always good. Yep, and I think that's for maybe the Milwaukee. I don't know. I'm not sure. And then it looks like we're dropping some new products. Like we're going to see some V3s in a little bit. Always new products coming all the time. That's the world these days. So that's polishing. So that takes the longest, probably, of one stage of one thing that you're doing. That's going to take the longest. And if you're really trying to remove defects and you do 2 stages, where maybe you go over it twice, or you might use a wool pad, which is going to be more aggressive, you're going to have to do that second stage to, most likely, you might have to do that second stage to remove swirl marks and things like that. At the very minimum, I on my wife's car, when we did that with Nick, we did a wool, and then we did we just did the wool pad. That's all we did. We didn't even do anything else. It didn't leave any swirl marks behind on that vehicle. We just did wool, one-step wool, which was pretty crazy. But sometimes if you use the wool, especially if you're too aggressive, then you might have some swirl marks you're gonna have to remove do the gold standard, like a standard pad after that. Just something to think about and be aware of there. And
5 cars and still 2/3 of the bottle left.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. If you do the system, if you use that system, you're using hardly anything, which is great. And then I did a wipe down. So let me get rid of this really quick. So I had, you need to, before you go to the next stage, you definitely need to remove the polish. So that's what we did, and that's what I was doing here, was just going over and removing polish. And I think you can see already where I've gone. You can still see some of the polish marks in the paint, but when I'm done with it, you can see the paint looks good. And so the polishing is really going to bring out a lot of that shine and gloss. Even if you don't fix the defects, it's just going to make it look really good from 5 to 10 feet away. You're going to be like, man, my ride looks amazing. If you get really close with a light, you're going to see some of those defects, but it's not too bad. Yep. All right, so that's the wipe off stage. That's pretty boring, so we'll get rid of that. No reason to keep that up. The next stage then for me was app. And that's not the right video. I don't know. I was just talking to that one. Oh, I think I was just showing like what I had done after. This is actually probably a good video to show. So this is after polishing, before app, I believe. Let me share this. And this is just a trip kind of around the car after I'm done. You can see that the pillars look really good, but there's still some spider webbing in there underneath the right light. But I mean, you can see a little bit. You can see just a tiny bit. But like after the polish, the vehicle looks really, really good. It's super shiny. Paint looks good. So right here, you can panel prep it, and then go ahead. If you have panel prep, you can go ahead and panel prep it. And then go ahead and put the coating on. But I did one more stage after this and decided to use app instead. And so for that, this is actually really important. You don't, with app, you want to use a dry pad. You want to use a jeweling pad like this. This is the red pad. And you just want basically a palm sander that has a little, like 3 to 9 millimeters, I think is what they recommend, of travel in it. So it's very little bit of travel. You're putting almost no pressure on this at all. And you're using that app to just swell that paint up, give it a little bit more gloss, and also just make the coating want to adhere to it a little bit better. That's what you're doing with it, but you do need to use this kind of a tool to apply app. You can't use a regular polishing tool because you're doing it with a dry pad and things like that. That's not what it's meant for. So it's important that you do this. That being said, if you decided you did not want to polish your vehicle, you were super happy with the paint, and you could just do this stage and just go right to app, and then go ahead and apply your coating. Or if you have a brand new car, and there's no paint defects in it, you could just go to this step and skip the whole polishing thing, this only takes maybe 20 to 45 minutes, depending on how fast you are. Because you're just going over the vehicle really quickly with it. It's really fast. And then your vehicle is going to be super shiny, and then that coating is really going to adhere well too. So that's what I would say with this. And then you just wipe it off when you're done. It's pretty simple. So you can see that I just applied, just like 3 drops. That's all I started with on a dry pad. And then we went over here, and you can see kind of what I was doing there. And I think I was on speed 1. You just want to make sure that it's oscillating and rotating. So that's important. And a lot of these things, which is when you buy them in the store, they'll have some called a pad brake on it, which will stop that oscillation. And you want to remove that. And everyone's a little bit different. This one had a rubber one on there. I took it off, and then it works just fine. So, and that's all I'm doing is just going really quickly over the paint. You can see it's not taking very long. There's 0 pressure on it whatsoever. But this is really swelling that paint up and getting it ready to adhere. And you can actually leave app on for, like, you don't have to remove it right away or anything like that. You could do this. If you're like, you know what, I'm going to coat it tomorrow, it would be fine. You could leave it on there, wipe it off the next day, and then coat the vehicle, and it's totally fine as well. So it's a pretty forgiving product, and really easy to use. Well, I clearly spend way less time than this, but 20 to 30 hours of polishing per vehicle. And checking the paint depth. I don't have a paint depth gauge, so I don't do that. But yeah, I mean, that's a long time. I hope your vehicles turn out amazing. That's a lot of time. And if you're doing it professionally, then again, you're probably doing a lot more than I'm doing. This is just me trying to make my vehicle look a little bit nicer, and I think it did. But that's totally fair. Clean by pan, spray polish, cuts quicker, easier to wipe off. Okay, that's fair. I haven't used it, so I don't know, but that's good to know. Yeah, and then like least aggressive to most aggressive. And so one of the things that I didn't show on here, because I already decided as we're doing one stage, is it's really good to do a test spot on your vehicle. If you're not sure how far you want to go, because again, you can go down the rabbit hole of doing too much, especially if you're inexperienced. You can do a test spot. So you take the yellow pad or even just this pad and like you do a little bit and go, that's not good enough. Use the yellow pad and say, oh, yeah, that's good, or nope, still not good enough. Then you use the wool pad and go, yep, that's where I want to be, and then go from there. Test spots, I think, are good just to kind of figure things out. But if you don't want to do any of that and you're, again, new, I would just go either gold standard, probably gold standard if you do want to polish and remove some defects, or the clean by pan polish, just do a one step and then apply app or use the panel prep. What else do we got here? Becca's got a great video on how to remove the pad brake. Yep, they're out there. Becca's got a lot of great videos. Do you wipe off dry or rinseless with a damp cloth? And so when I do the app and I'm removing that, it's a damp cloth to remove that. Yep, definitely using it's just a rinseless dampened cloth to remove. This is just me as a picture. I'm not sure why we're showing that. That's where the video ended, I guess. But yeah, so just a rinseless dampened cloth on that one. I think it's maybe this one right here. That's showing that. Let's see if I do the wipe. Now it's just more application. And yeah. So here, what we've got going on is, so now I'm wiping off the app, and I've got a rinseless dampened towel in one hand there. So that's just dampened. It's not wet in any way, shape, or form. And then I'm just going back over that with a buff towel just to kind of make sure I've gotten everything off. That magic buffer towel from DIY Detail, I really like that towel a lot. I feel like I could sleep on that towel. Like, it's just really soft. I like that towel a lot. It's a great towel. So that's a rinseless dampened towel, and then just follow up with another towel just to make sure you're removing all the product off of it. You're not polishing anything at this point. You're just trying to remove the product. Same thing with gold standard polish. Paint gauge is nice to have. Definitely 30 hours is a lot, but if it's worth it, it's worth it, right? You get to decide that, and if you're charging, your customer gets to decide what, if that's worth paying for as well. Hopefully you're getting paid well for that. Gloss meters. So then you can put your numbers behind your shine. I've improved your shine 300%, which is great to be able to say, especially if you do that before you wash the vehicle, and then you test the gloss, and then you do all this, because I imagine the gloss is like 20 million times better after that. This is my number. It depends on when you're measuring. So that's how I removed it. Again, not too big of a deal there. And the next part of this whole thing is really just applying the ceramic coating. So let's see if I can get to where we're at there. I think I'm just talking. Here we go. All right. Come on. Share screen. Brian, any other questions so far?
Not at the moment.
Danny LaRusso? Was I waxing on and waxing off? Is that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I figured. So clean by pan 8 years, I'm showing in there. I can also show it here. of the coatings I've used, this is a little thicker coating for sure. So that's something to keep in mind. You have to shake it up really good. And it does not come really easily out of the bottle. So you have to kind of give it a little bit extra. There's a fly flying around there, I see. And it comes with the applicator and everything you need. And he uses a square applicator, and he recommends a crosshatch pattern, meaning you go up and down next, and then you go back left and right over that same area. And that's just to make sure you've covered the area really well. DIY Detail does the circular pattern with the circular applicator. That's a preference thing, I think, for a lot of people. Some people really love crosshatch. Some people really love the circular pattern. They both work. I've done them on both vehicles, and they work both ways. So, whatever one you like better. That's how I feel. So just shaking everything up there is a really big deal. And then, again, you can see you've got to put quite a bit of pressure there to get some of that out of the bottle. And when you first load up, you can put a little extra on because you want to get the pad kind of prepped. And I think Pan has said you can be pretty judicious with this coating as well. I probably actually didn't use enough in this vehicle compared to what some other people might. But hey, look at this. Bill, Canada. I bet it's really great. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like tropically warm in Canada right now, and it's just all the cold airs in the United States and the Midwest and the South. Anyway, welcome, Bill. You do that, okay, so see if this works here. A full decon wash, then you test the gloss. That's the proper way to do it, but if you really want to enhance that number, it's before you wash it. But no, I think that's the best way to do it for sure. So you can see I'm just doing a crosshatch pattern here after I put that on. And you're just going, you want to make sure you overlap just a little bit in your crosses so you don't leave anything not done. And you can actually see a little bit, there's a little bit of a streakiness behind it after it goes by. You can see that in some of the passes. And, what I've found weirdly, for whatever reason, in both Colorado and in Utah is these coatings, as soon as I apply them, they're ready to come off immediately. I don't know if it's because it's so dry here. A lot of times I've heard people say that the humidity makes it cure faster, but it's like ready to come off pretty much immediately. I think I might have got the whole hood in this section, but there are different instructions for different coatings. You definitely want to read that. Some will say leave it on for 5 minutes. For the most part, you're going to be able to wipe it off, and it's not going to be a problem. But what a couple people were talking about here was the high spotting. And what that is, Brian, is like you leave too much product behind in one area, and it looks like a wipe, like something's been wiped in your surface, and you'll never get it back off again unless you polish it off. So you don't want high spots. Once they've cured, you're not going to get them off without polishing them. You can reapply more product and go over that area if it's not fully cured, and that'll get rid of it, and then wipe it down. But that's what high spotting is. And you'll see in a little bit here when I go over this with the towels, kind of two-towel method. You take your first pass to level the coating out, and again make sure you got it kind of everywhere, and it's all the same amount everywhere. Then you're not going to have any high spots, and then the buffing towel just helps make sure you've removed everything. And I do remember very clearly when I put those towels on, Pans was slick right away. Like the paint was instantly super slick, and Pans know it, like it's one of his favorite things, I think, in his product. So very slick product, and it worked really well when I washed it the next week as well. So now you can see I'm going over to the leveling towel, and just making sure that I get it leveled out really good. It's good to have a couple different color towels in this case, so you know that one's a leveling towel and one's the buffing towel, so you're not accidentally switching those out, because the leveling towel is going to have more coating on it than the buff towel. But I think you can see even now, like how much gloss is coming from that light that's shining from my the garage light in the middle of the screen there. Instant shine, instant gloss, super easy to remove. Over the entirety of the vehicle, I think there was one spot where it looked like a high spot, but I actually think I missed removing a little bit of the app on the hood. I missed just one little section, and then I coated over top of it. And this color, white vehicles are really hard to see high spots on, so lighter colored vehicles. On a dark colored vehicle, it's really easy to spot them. But on lighter colored vehicles, it can be sometimes harder to spot high spots until later on. And the spots that I leave high spots, I've done, I don't know, make 10 cars maybe. So like I'm not, like I said, not a professional, but I've probably done 10 vehicles. Where I tend to leave a high spot is on the, like the headlights. I'll miss getting it off of there, and then I'll leave a little bit of a high spot in there. That's a spot that I've done on a few different vehicles, but generally I get the paint pretty well. And again, it's helpful to have one of those lights to go back over the paint, and you'll be able to see the high spots really quickly. So I don't have one of those lights, but it's nice to have. If you know, I think somebody said it was like $40 or something like that. And that's the process. I mean, that's it. Like that's the whole process for doing the vehicle. One other thing I didn't have the video on here for, if you notice the grill, that I did with the DIY detail restore and protect, the trim restore and protect. I did all the black plastic parts with that, and that actually has a black dye in it, so that's part of the reason why it looks kind of newish. It really brings anything that's black plastic back. That worked really well, and that also has a little bit of a ceramic in it, so I didn't need to put the pan ceramic on those areas because I had done the restore and protect. But yeah, you can see, I think it looks pretty good. Let's see here. 2.2 will be 1 year since the 8 years, so still looking like day one, which is great. One thing I'll say, I traded this vehicle in November, so I only had the coating on there for a few months, but it performed really well during those few months. And whoever got my vehicle after that, probably really happy with their paint, I'm gonna guess. And they're like, why is it so easy to wash this thing? It looks so good. So that's how you do it. And you just follow those same rules all the way around the vehicle. And you can do the glass. So you can put those products on the glass too. You can use a glass coating if you want instead of the windshield. But if you don't want to buy something extra, the glass coating will last a little bit longer because you're using windshield wipers, right? That they're gonna remove that product a little bit faster. And a glass coating will generally handle that a little bit better. And glass coating is really easy to apply too. So anyway, that's pretty much, now I'm just talking, but that's pretty much how the process worked. But I think you want to see results too. Yeah, go ahead.
No, just as far as like the overall technique goes, are there, I don't really want to say techniques, but are there methods that people should avoid doing so that way they don't get the high spots? Because I have a tendency to rush through steps versus taking my time, or sometimes I press too hard just because I'm used to putting a little elbow grease into other things that I'm working on, like because I usually do woodworking stuff, not detail stuff like this.
Anything you do in here should be zero pressure. There's just unless you're trying to remove a really deep scratch, and if you're doing that and you've never done it before, I don't know that I would recommend trying to do it. That's where you might put a little bit of pressure on to remove a scratch if you're really trying to do that, but I don't think that's a really good idea. There's the 5-year when it's raining, so that's what's on the Tacoma, is the DIY detail 5-year. You can see it's doing pretty good. But pressure is the enemy, so you don't want to put too much pressure on. And then you don't want to use too much product either. So if you apply too much coating, that's where you're going to get high spots. It's going to be harder to remove. It's going to stick. You're going to have to let it cure long. You want to get to just the right amount. Like less is probably more in almost all of these cases. You don't need more of all this stuff to make it work better. Technique is more important than that. So spending a little bit more time and doing it right is better. You can see here, like I did a pretty good job of removing like if you get up close, you can still see the spider webbing in there. But if you take the light away from that, it looks really good. And those are things you have to decide as a DIYer, especially, like how much time and effort do I want to put on this. I think this paint looks great for again a 70,000 mile vehicle. Is it perfect? No, you can see that there were some scratches on the tailgate, and I just didn't care because it's super glossy and looks good. Again, the light, depending on where the light is, it looks super glossy. If you get the light in the right spot, you're going to see some of the spidering, and that's just kind of the way it works. So that's a good question, though. Take your time, make sure you've covered it, but just use the least amount of product you need to get the job done.
So a light touch.
Light touch. So they have a $15 light at Walmart. There you go. Perfect. And then Pan says 2 coats in the windshield with its coatings. So if you're going to do the windshield, go ahead and do that. Now I had already done a glass coating on this with a different, with the diamond, was a diamond nanotech coating. They're diamond glass. I had put that on here, so I didn't need to do a coating on the windshield, but I did do it on all the windows, even though I had put it on the windows a few months ago before this. And the reason was that when I got the vehicle, it had a ton of water spotting on the windows, and now the polishing removed all that. So between the water spot remover and the polishing, I was able to get rid of all the water spots on the side windows. And so then I went ahead and put the pan on those. But, yeah, so that's that.
Remind me, is this the same vehicle that we used when road tripping out to your place last summer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, we drove into a supercell, and I went that down. But it was raining so hard as we were driving, but I don't think you even turned on the windshield wipers, because as soon as the water hit, it was gone.
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
Yep, the diamond glass was really good, and I've had the same performance with the C6 hydro glass as well. It's been really good on the Tacoma, and I put that on the Kia as well. But just because I want to show you what the results from this here. Let's see. That's the really after. Let me do this one. So this was a week later. I let it cure. I try to let things cure for an entire week. You don't have to necessarily with some of the coatings, but I like to try to let them go as long as they can before I wash them. They can get dirty. They can get wet within an hour. So the longer you can keep them from getting wet, the better off you're going to be. But generally speaking, they can get wet within an hour. You just don't want to generally wash them until like a couple of days later. And then like pH neutral soap. So this would be like, this is where I decided to use some of the Incredible Suds. This again was a week later, so let's fast forward to this section. You can see Incredible Suds also very good for foaming. And you can also see like there's a little bit of it's running off really nicely.
Yeah.
But then it rinses like as the rinse is kind of happening there, you can see it just comes off so easy. Like that soap just came off super easy. So I was really impressed with that. Trying to see if I got a good shot of me. There we go. Right here. So this is what the performance is like when you have a ceramic coating. And before there was like, it would sheet up. So it'd be one big sheet of water, and you can see it's just beating like crazy and coming right off. And that performance maintained for the next several months after that. And I would expect on an 8-year coating, you're going to get several years of performance like that, especially if you keep it up. Will it last 8 years? I don't know. I really don't. But it will last several years if you take care of it, and especially if you garage it, that kind of thing. Now, if you leave it outside 24/7 and it goes to 100 degrees in the summer and below zero in the winter, and you never wash it, it's not going to last as long. That's just the way it is. But I bet you still get a year or two out of it if you take care of it. You might have to unclog it every once in a while, but yeah, I mean, I was really happy with the performance. You can see in the glass, it was really good as well. Just rejecting the water really well. Yeah, 40 miles an hour plus, no wipers needed. I would agree there for sure. Thanks for dropping by, everybody who's had time to drop by. Appreciate that, by the way. So that's the whole process, and that's what you can expect after you do a full ceramic coating. You might get some of that with the spray coating for a week or two, but it's going to fade after that. You're going to have to reapply again. So that's the difference another difference between the spray coating and this. You have to continually reapply it, and this is going to be a little thicker of a coating, so it's going to protect your paint and your glass a little bit better. Some of the glass coatings also claim that they'll add a little hardness to your glass and reduce like chips and things like that. But I will say that that's not, when a rock hits your glass, it's probably still going to chip. I had that happen right after I applied that diamond glass to my vehicle. So I was like, yeah, okay. But it's supposed to add some hardness in some cases. So that's what it looks like. Again, not super hard, I don't think. And anybody can do this. It just takes time. The thing I would say is if you're going to do it, so you want to do it at like 60 65 degrees and better is kind of a good place to do it. Some of the coatings will be able to adhere okay under that, down to like even 45 degrees. But I would say if you can get at least in the upper 50s or higher to be able to apply the coating and let it cure, that's going to be your best bet there if we're wondering what temperatures. For the most part, I don't see a lot, like, and then like under 100 is good, and don't do it in the sun. Like those are some things that are probably pretty good tips there. But yeah, that's what it looks like. And I think I took one more walk around it when it was out here in the sun, so you can kind of see, or I guess, well, it was kind of cloudy this day, but whatever. This is the final results after it was washed that day, just to show you what that looks like. And again, because there's no direct sunlight, that the panel black doesn't look like it has any scratches on it. In direct sunlight, you're going to see a little bit of that. Yeah. So I don't know, Brian, if you have any more questions there, but that's the process. But now it means for the rest of the time I owned the vehicle, when I washed it was really easy to clean, super easy, and it looks really good. So when it's clean, it's even glossier, even shinier than if you just did like a, even like a spray on every once in a while. I think it's just easier to maintain. So yeah, that's the process of applying the Clean by Pan 8-year. Like I said, look, you can see me look at how good that is. That's the process. It's time consuming, but it's not hard. Anybody can do it, and that's how I did this one. Any other questions here? Let's see here. I don't see too many other ones. Yeah. Brian, any last questions about this process, anything like that? Is it something you would want to do on your Jeep at some point?
It would be something I would want to do on my Jeep. Absolutely.
Like I said, next time, I don't know, I'll have to fly out at some point, or if you come here, you'll have to, we can do it here for sure if you ever drive out. But
well, October, but that doesn't seem like the right time.
No, I think we're going to be getting the vehicles dirty during that time, a little less than, yeah. So thanks for watching, everybody. Actually, this turned out a little bit better than I thought it was going to. I didn't know how many people were actually going to attend, and I don't know if it was a ton of people, but we had a ton of chats, and I appreciate that a lot, and it makes this pretty fun. It's a different way to try to show how to do things and give people a chance to ask questions and to share along with me, rather than just be my opinion on what's going on. And hopefully people learn something, or were able to share something that they found was helpful for myself or somebody else. And, for the people watching that didn't share anything, also learn something. Next week, special guest, Nick at Night, Nick McGurk, going to be on the show. So next week, same time. Nick McGurk will be on, so if you want to come and talk to Nick and ask him questions about whatever you would like, come and join. We've got a kind of free-flowing episode for next week, so I'm kind of excited about that. And a couple other things coming in the hopper. There's going to be a few live streams that are completely different than anything you've seen on the channel here and there, but you might enjoy them too. They might attract a different audience, and that's all right as well. But I really appreciate y'all coming on. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. Remember to live your life in beta, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.